long, slow struggle, in which we are generally making some progress, but it's going slowly. And then, a few years ago, I discovered that Linux wasn't free software anymore, because Torvalds had begun putting in some pieces of non-free software. So if you look at Torvalds' version of Linux, the so-called source files contain binary programs. And these are in the form of a table of numbers, like 30,000 numbers. And what are those numbers? They're really an executable program for which the source code is not available at all. So this means that, well, it's a violation of the GNU GPL, except the developers of Linux decided to ignore it. So if they don't enforce their license, nobody else can do it. But in any case, we can't use Torvalds' version of Linux. So we have a modified version of Linux that we call Linux Libre. In which we have erased these non-free things. Now, these non-free programs are actually firmware, which means they don't run in the central processor. Instead, the system copies them into an I/O device in order to make that I/O device work. But still, it's there in your system. You can't ignore it. You can't have non-free software in your system, on your disk, and so on. So this is another way in which we have to struggle to fully support I/O devices with free software. And 3 times we had freedom and we lost it because so many people in our community don't care. And this shows that our future depends on what we value. If we value freedom, then when somebody invites us to throw it in the dust, we won't. But if we aren't thinking about freedom, then people will give us opportunities to lose it, and we'll accept those opportunities. They'll offer us something attractive if we just give up our freedom. And thinking only short-term, not caring about freedom, we will give up our freedom. So, to establish freedom in a lasting way, we need to teach our community to value freedom. It's not enough just to hand out free software to people and say, oh, now he's free, that's good. He doesn't know it, but he's free. Well, it's good, yes, it is good, but that's not likely to last. If we want to establish freedom in a lasting way, we have to teach him what it means to be free and show him why that's important, so that he won't give up his freedom just as easily as he got it. That's why my work these days doesn't focus on writing software. Well, there are lots of people writing free software. We don't need me, especially since I'm getting old. What we need most is people to teach other people about freedom. So, for instance, in some parts of India, public schools are using free software in the classroom. They're using the GNU/Linux system in the classroom. Well, that's good, but they have to teach the students what it means that this is free software, why they're using free software, why it's important. And why is it important? Schools must teach exclusively free software, and there are 4 reasons for this. Why it is the duty of the school to teach free software and only free software. First of all, one reason is to save money. This is a rather obvious reason. Even people who don't understand what free software really means can see this reason. But it's superficial. And it's important because the schools don't have enough money, so they must not waste their money paying for permission to run non-free software. But some proprietary software companies eliminate this reason by donating copies to schools. And why do they do that? I think it's part of a plan to use the schools as an instrument to impose on society a permanent dependence on that company's product. Here's how it works. The school gets the gratis copies and teaches the students to use that product. And they develop a dependence on it. And then they graduate with the dependence. And after they graduate, the company is not going to offer them gratis copies. And even less will it offer gratis copies at the companies those people go to work for after they graduate. So the idea is the schools push people down the path of dependence. They push their students onto that path, and as they go down that path, they suck the rest of society along with them. It's just like giving the schools gratis needles full of addictive drugs to inject into their students so that they develop a dependency. And of course, the first dose is gratis. Once you have the dependency, then you have to pay. The schools would not accept these needles of addictive drugs to inject into their students, and they should not accept dependency-forming proprietary software either. Because the school has a social mission, which is to educate the next generation as good citizens of a strong, capable, independent, cooperating, and free society. And when it comes to computing, the way you do that is by teaching people to use free software and not teaching proprietary software. But there's a deeper reason, for the sake of the education of the best programmers. Because some people are natural-born programmers, and at the age of somewhere between 10 to 13, they are fascinated by the computer, and they want to learn everything about how the system works. But when our youth asks the teacher, how does this program work? If it's proprietary, the teacher can only say, I'm sorry, it's a secret, so I don't know, and you can't find out. Which means that there is no room for education. Proprietary software is the enemy of the spirit of education, because it is knowledge that you're not allowed to learn. It's handed out in dribs and drabs for you to use under the control of somebody else in a sort of digital colonization that keeps most people dependent and helpless. There's no room for this in a school. But if the program is free software, the teacher can explain as much as he knows, and then say, here's a copy of the source code. Read it and you'll understand everything. And if there's any part that's hard for you to read and figure out, show it to me and we'll figure it out together. And this way, our natural-born programmer has the opportunity to learn something very important. That code is not clear, so don't write it that way. And that's very important, because the way you learn to write good, clear code is by reading lots of code and writing lots of code. The way you learn to write code for large programs is you start writing small pieces of code for large programs. But in order to do that, you need to have a large program you can read and then change. This is how I learned. I went to work at a lab at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology where they had a free operating system. In fact, it had been developed by the system hackers at the lab, and when I was hired as a system hacker, my job was to make the system better. So I could just read programs and write improvements, and I did this over and over, and eventually I got to be good at it. Today, any school can offer the same opportunity, but only if it's a free software school. But there is an even deeper reason, for the sake of moral education. Education in citizenship. Because schools are supposed to teach not just facts, not just skills, but above all, the spirit of goodwill, the spirit and the habit of helping your neighbor. So every class must have a rule. Students, if you bring software to class, you may not keep it for yourself. You must share it with the rest of the class. But the school has to follow its own rule in order to set a good example. So the teacher also must share software with the students in the class so they can take it home and share it with others. The school must only bring free software to class. Those of you who are connected with the school, it is your responsibility to campaign to move your school to free software. One effective thing that a student can do to take action, to raise the moral issue, is in the first meeting of a class, say out loud to the teacher, my conscience does not permit me to use proprietary software. And I see that the class, so does this class plan to use any proprietary software? And if the teacher said, that's if you don't already know. And if the teacher says yes, or if you already know, then you say, I can't use those programs because they're proprietary. Please work out with me a way I can do the classwork using free software and demonstrate my knowledge of the subject. And I don't mind if I have to do extra work. I don't mind if it takes me some extra time, as long as I'm doing it the ethical way. This is something the teacher has to respect, because you're not trying to make an excuse to get out of your work. You're even willing to learn more in order to do it in a way that fits the spirit of education. So it's very hard for a teacher to refuse you the opportunity to work harder this way. But by bringing it up in front of the other people, you set a moral example. You show that you are willing to make a small sacrifice for the sake of everybody's freedom. And that's what we have to be prepared to do to maintain our freedom. The person who says, yes, I like freedom, as soon as you hand me freedom on a silver platter and I don't have to suffer the tiniest inconvenience, then I'll switch to free software. What he's really saying is, freedom is of no value to me. I won't make the slightest, I won't accept the slightest inconvenience to win freedom. You just have to do all the work. And then, yes, I'll enjoy the benefits, but I won't help. So that person is saying he doesn't care. But when you offer to do extra work in order to do it in a way that's consistent with freedom, you're showing you do care. And that can influence other people. Of course, also you should look for allies. Don't assume you have to do this yourself. See what other students, see what teachers care about these issues of freedom, and work together to bring up the issue. This microphone is about to die, but maybe it will last long enough for me to introduce my other identity. I am Saint Ignatius of the Church of Emacs. I bless your computer, my child. Emacs started out as a text editor, an extensible text editor, and then it was extended so much that it became a way of life for many users because they could do all their work without ever exiting Emacs. And then it became a church when people created the news group alt.religion.emacs. Today in the Church of Emacs, we have a great schism between several rival versions of Emacs. And we also have saints, but fortunately no gods. Instead of gods, we worship an editor. To be a member of the Church of Emacs, you must recite the Confession of the Faith. You must say, there is no system but GNU, and Linux is one of its kernels. In the Church of Emacs, we have a a fundamental saying. Warning, taking any religion too seriously, even the Church of Emacs, may be hazardous to your health. The Church of Emacs has certain advantages compared with other churches I won't mention. For instance, to be a saint in the Church of Emacs does not require celibacy. However, it does require living a life of moral purity. You must exorcise any evil proprietary operating systems that have possessed computers under your control or that were set up for you to use. And then you must install a wholly free operating system, where wholly can be spelled in more than one way. And then only install free software with and on the system. If you make this vow and you live by it, then you too will be a saint, and you too will have the right to wear a halo if you can find one, because they don't make them anymore. Sometimes people ask me whether it is a sin in the Church of Emacs to use the other editor, VI. It's true that VI is the editor of the beast in Roman numerals. But using a free implementation of VI is not a sin, it's a penance. And sometimes people ask me whether my halo is really an old computer disk. This is no computer disk, this is my halo. But it was a computer disk in a previous life. So, thank you. Is it time for questions now?
Yeah.
Speak slowly and loud and pronounce every consonant carefully, the way I'm speaking now. Then I will hear you.
We'd love to have a good full interaction session. But unfortunately, since the program started late and there is a meeting scheduled, it's already lunchtime now nearly. What we would suggest is that the FSFUG group this thing, and we would suggest that you write your mails and then we will take it up.
That's not efficient, but what we could do is, those who are interested in asking any questions and hearing the answers, we could go outside.
Yeah,
and I can answer questions for a while out there. Because, I can always answer questions for people one at a time, but that way only one person hears the answer. The benefit of a question and answer session is you all get to hear all the answers. So we can still do that. We can do it outside.
Yeah. For users, would like to thank Mr. Stallman for his wonderful time.
This is really already in trouble now.
Yeah, I been suspended, so all the students can leave this thing and there will be no classes. However, only the video exams will be done as scheduled. So, and we request your cooperation by moving outside the auditorium.
I want everybody to leave the campus at the earliest. If you want photographs, don't ask to shoot it first. Yeah. Should be as fast as possible. Give it.